and welcome back to the Simplifiers podcast, where we take topics in business and in life and simplify them. And friends, we got a doozy of a topic to simplify today because Lord knows you are probably in the car right now driving to your in-laws in preparation for the big holiday season. Can we just give you a hallelujah right now because you are doing the thing, my girlfriend? I want to simplify Christmas. I want to simplify the holidays. And I want to encourage each and every one of us to choose to do it simpler this year. And I can't think of the more perfect guest than my gal today. Her name is Kathi Lipp, and she inspires thousands of women each year to simplify down their expectations and live with real purpose. With humor and wisdom, Kathi hopes that she will be able to prepare you and provide you with practical steps to live with meaning. She's the author of 20 books, including Clutter-Free, The Get Yourself Organized Project, The Husband Project, and Overwhelmed, but more importantly, her latest book, The Christmas Project Planner. She's also the host of Clutter-Free Academy, the podcast with Kathi Lipp, and she runs the Clutter-Free Academy, where thousands of women worldwide and a few brave guys support each other in living a clutter-free life. So I'd like to welcome to the Simplifiers podcast, Kathi Lipp. Hey, Kathi.
I am so thrilled to be here. I feel very international right now. So
Oh my
thank
goodness.
you so much.
So I just have to say, your book is fabulous. And I definitely want to talk through it because you and I are like soul sisters, two peas in a pod. We are dynamic, organized, headstrong women. I'm willing to bet, right?
Yes,
And
yes, I've been told that a time or two.
we like a good to-do list. We like to tick
Yeah.
things off. But
Oh, yeah.
why is it that sometimes Christmas brings out the crazies in us?
Oh, because, like you said, we are get it done kind of people.
Yeah.
And when I am running my business and I've got contractors and interns and all the people, I pay them to do what they say they're going to do.
Right.
Or we have some kind of arrangement. My family doesn't really appreciate my very prescriptive approach that I use in the business world. And so there's a lot more negotiation, there's a lot more history there.
Yeah.
And let's just say, I'm good at what I do in my 9 to 5. What entrepreneur is 9 to 5? But
Right.
in my 9 to 5 job. But I am like everybody else trying to figure out this whole other side of my life. And so, and plus, all of us have special challenge. Many of us have special challenges, whether it's we're a blended family. So there's not only, we've got the in-laws and the outlaws and all of that, but also if you're married, you're dealing with another family and their traditions.
Yeah.
And so to manage all of these expectations, it's overwhelming. It's easier to go to work. It's easier to just do our job.
Well, and that's the reality from, I don't know, middle of November to, I don't know, the first week
Yeah.
in January.
Right.
All of your routine, everything that is your
Mhm.
weekly way of living and working gets thrown right out the window. There are cheese
Right.
balls every left and right corner. There
Yes.
is your in-laws who you're desperately trying to impress, but then never seem to hit the mark. There is
Never.
all the things, I mean, literally all the things that my Google Calendar looks like a lit up Christmas tree as well.
Right.
So how, first off, that's reality for a lot of us. But then
Mhm.
how do you define a clutter-free Christmas? Where do you set the mark?
And I don't know that that was anybody's goal going in was a clutter-free Christmas, but
Yeah.
doesn't that actually sound just like, oh my goodness? Because when you think about the clutter of Christmas, you think about all the gifts that need to be purchased,
Yeah.
your calendar, emotional expectations, the busyness with the cooking and all of that kind of stuff. And by the way, let's be clear, I still need to earn a paycheck in December.
Right. Yeah.
Like nobody's given me December off.
Right.
I'm still part of the hustle. And I don't mean hustle in a bad way. I enjoy the hustle. I enjoy my work.
Yeah.
But I still have to do all the other things. And so what I have come to understand, it is a lowering of expectations and increasing bringing your team into play.
Yeah.
And so that Christmas isn't entirely up to you. Because, I think about this. How did my mom feel about all this? My mom was a working mom and she was doing all this stuff. How did my mother-in-law feel about all that? We have to break the cycle at some point to say that it's all up, one, to the woman, and two, that we have to do all the things.
And yeah, hello, 2019 at the time of this recording. It that may have been the case in the 1950s, but I think
Right.
we've come a long way.
Baby, yes.
And so you're talking about the team, you might be talking about your spouse, your parents, your children. Is there anybody else on the team in your mind?
Well, I really do think that it is other people who have a similar mindset who are
Yeah.
saying, I don't need to flock my tree in order for us to have a happy Christmas. I
Yeah.
don't need to do everything that all of my neighbors are doing. Now, there are certain parts of Christmas I just love and adore. I love the cooking. That's a favorite part for me. My husband loves to do the outdoor decorating. But when it comes to indoors, we're pretty simple. We like a tree cut down from, our property, and we put it up with some lights and we're done. And to other people, it's not Christmas without doing the tree, but you have to figure out what's going to work for you.
Mm,
And so it's about finding those people who are saying, you know what, you're not sending Christmas cards. Good for you.
mm.
That's okay this year. That's okay. We probably send Christmas cards once every 5 years. And if I was surrounded by a bunch of people who are expecting cards all the time, that would be an added pressure I don't need. So I want to surround myself with people who get it.
That sparks me to think of an episode that we released earlier this year with John Rulin, and I'll put a link in the show notes for anybody that's listening to this one. He is a master at gift giving, but in a
Mm.
corporate way and with your clients and show them love.
Oh, nice.
One of the tips he had said was that when the most powerful time is to send a card, a handwritten card to somebody, is not the holidays. It's when they
Right.
least expect it. So actually,
Yeah.
I've been doing that lately, trying and testing that theory because yes, there is the frenzy of, oh, I got to get all the Christmas cards out, not just to the family, but to the clients and to the vendors and to the is
Right.
actually send out a year in review card or letter or send a little love in March or April when no one's expecting it, which is great.
One of my friends, now this is not a tip for this year, but maybe for next year, she, instead of sending out Christmas cards, she sent out Thanksgiving cards. And she
Mm.
just said, here are all the people if you're receiving this card, I'm grateful for you.
Yeah, I love it.
And I love that because have you ever, now, okay, true confession time. You get all these Christmas cards at the same time. And there have been years I haven't even looked at them until like mid-January.
It's true. It's true. So would you
Yeah.
rather be one of 20 cards that somebody gets this Christmas
Mhm.
season, or would you like to be the card that sits on that person's desk or
Right.
mantle in the month of March when they least expect it? So just a
Ex-
thought. But I want
Just
to go back to something you said that really perked my ears up is when other people say the thing, it wouldn't be Christmas without ... Tell me more.
Mhm. So I think that we heap a lot of guilt on each other. I'll give you an example. Now, my mother-in-law is not going to listen to this podcast, so we're okay.
Okay.
Not that she wouldn't really, really enjoy it, but I don't even think she quite knows what a podcast is. And we took her to Disney World very soon after the death of my husband's stepdad.
Mm.
And we get there, and it was 3 days of the words, I'm so disappointed. Like, I'm so disappointed they don't have their decorations up yet.
Oh my
I'm so
gosh.
disappointed that they're not doing the Christmas parade. And then I'll never forget it. My husband, we get into one of the parks and he goes, I'm so disappointed they don't have the tree up. I'm like, okay, she is an 85-year-old woman. I'll put up with it from her. You Oh no, we are not going there. And it's like, it wasn't a complete trip to her because these certain things didn't happen. And I think a lot of people do that around Christmas. If we don't have an advent calendar, it's not really Christmas. It's not
Yeah.
really Christmas unless we've done these 10 different kinds of cookies that my grandmother and my aunt and my mom used to do. It's not really Christmas if we don't go see the Nutcracker. And like, you and I were talking about before we started recording, the only thing it's not Christmas without is the birth of Jesus. Like everything else is optional at
Right.
that point.
And
And,
negotiable.
and can I just say, there have been Christmases where our budget has been slim to none.
Yeah.
It was making it up as we go along. And then there have been years where there's been an abundance. And here's the thing, I don't think my kids could tell you the difference between the two, not because I'm some magical Christmas person, but that's just how people operate. And if we are with people we love, and we find out a couple of important things. One of my favorite stories is one year I said, okay, you guys, I know you like this certain stuffing, and I know you like these Christmas cookies, and I know you like, just tell me, give me one or two foods that you're like, okay, this is it is really important to me at Christmas. Everybody said the same two items:
Mm.
our pumpkin no-bake cheesecake and our cranberry no-bake cheesecake. These take about 5 minutes to put together. I'm like, why am I killing myself doing all the things? And so, to say, okay, find out what's really important to people. And then two, if it's really important to them, get them involved.
Yeah.
I mean, I realize I failed on this point at one point because my daughter 2 years ago for Christmas said, "Mom, I'm making stuffing to bring to my boyfriend's family celebration. Can you send me the family recipe?" And I sent her a picture of the box of stovetop stuffing. Like,
There it is.
yeah, there it is. And I had never let her in on that. How
Yeah.
I robbed her of that. So,
Mm.
like, no more. If something's really important to somebody, let them participate in making it happen.
And I hope that whoever is listening to this episode right now are chuckling along with us, but also hearing a gentle message of grace that you
Hmm.
have the ability to choose and you have the ability to discern what does happen this Christmas and what doesn't, and and I think that this is really important to hear. I dare say it's important for me to hear this as well, is to
Mm-hmm.
give yourself permission to create your own traditions, to go against what you feel has been passed down to you either out of guilt or obligation or otherwise, and just go, you know what, hang on, pause. I'm the adult in the household now, and I get to choose that we're only going to have turkey and not turkey and ham and duck and blah blah and
Right.
or
Right.
whatever the thing is for you, that you get the ability to choose.
Yes. And I think traditions are so much more meaningful when they've been created
Mm,
instead of left over.
right.
Uh, my favorite meme this whole year was somebody who said tradition equals peer pressure from dead people. I just love that so much because who are we trying to impress?
Yes.
Who are we? It's the same reason we hang on to our grandmother's brooch that we'll never wear, that she didn't even really like, but it's
Yeah.
just peer pressure from people who are no longer in our lives. And it's like, no, you and your family get to blow up Christmas and make traditions that are actually meaningful to you.
Right. And I think this comes back to your original point of what a clutter free Christmas is. You're not just talking about physical clutter in your space, you're talking about emotional clutter, the mental drain of the stress of doing all the things. I mean, it is a process of simplifying down and getting to the core essence of what's most important. So, in your book, you mention like step one, creating a holiday mission statement. Tell us what that
Yeah.
is and how do we create one?
Okay, so this is really simple and really basic. And I know this sounds it sounds crazy to create a mission statement. Isn't that what businesses do? But I think it can be as simple as, this year I want to approach Christmas from a place of peace.
Yeah.
or a posture of peace and doing something. Or maybe, this has been a hard driving year. Maybe I need to figure out how to stuff as much joy into this season as I possibly can. And we're going to have fun. Like our family core value is going to be we're playing games from sunup to sundown on
Yeah.
Christmas Day. What is it that you need to figure out? And one of the things I like to remind people, especially when you've got blended families or step families or, in-laws and things like that, is that really when you are trying to accomplish a certain thing at Christmas, whether it's joy or peace, or maybe you just want people to get along, maybe your expectations are really basic this year. To be able to understand, there's a great engineering principle that my husband taught me. You can have it better, cheaper, or faster.
Yep.
Pick two out of three. Okay. With Christmas, I feel like there's the same kind of principle going there. You can celebrate with those you love. You can celebrate on the actual day.
Yeah.
You can have people be happy about it. Pick two out of three. So, though we don't get to have everybody we love in one place on the 25th.
Yeah.
So what could you do to make it a Christmas that could you do it on the 20th? Could you say, you know what? I understand that these two people can't be there. We're going to wish them well. We're not going to make them feel guilty every time we talk to them about them not choosing our Christmas over something else. Or, maybe we just say, we are going to, if the 25th is the only day you can do it, we're just going to make the best of it, but we're going to keep our expectations low. And so coming in with those expectations really helps you with the holiday mission statement to say, okay, what's my priority? If it's joy, I'm going to make sure I have people here who I love. And even if it's on the 18th, and that's when we decide to celebrate, that's what's going to make it a miracle.
Well, and I feel like that really resonates with me because when I think about setting a mission statement in my business, the mission statement is the guiding compass. It's the why behind what we do. And so I just appreciate that from a business standpoint. Oh, okay, well, if my family and I come together and we co-create this holiday mission statement for the next month and a half ahead of potential frenzy and crazies, right?
Right.
Then we each, the kids get a voice in this too. Like we each come to the table and say, no, this is what's really most important. And then that's where the discernment muscle starts to strengthen. And then you go, okay, well, does this year really the year for us to do a Christmas family photo shoot for the cards? And is this year the year that we're going to send out 200 cards and, hand address them at 2:00 in the morning for the next few nights? Like, is this the year that we're going to do the Christmas party where we, exchange 100 cookies? Like all the things. And again, any of those things could spark joy in you and could be your one thing for this holiday. That's not what I'm getting at. It's just knowing that, I get to decide. And I do know what is most important for my household.
Well, and what you said is so key is that, just because I've decided not to do something this year doesn't mean I've decided. I don't know where we got the idea that we only get credit if we do it every year in a row.
Right.
Like, I don't understand where that came from. Because I think the only reason we're sending Christmas cards this year is because we have the world's cutest puppy.
Aww.
And okay, we're going to capture that because Moose is just about the cutest 10 pounds you've ever seen in your entire life. But we're not going to send them next year.
Yeah.
Unless a grandchild happens or something like that, that is not on our radar. So Christmas cards from the Lips once every 5 years, that's plenty. Yeah. And maybe 1 year we're going to do a big Christmas cookie exchange. That doesn't mean in 2020 we have to do it again. It could be one thing we do every 5 years. But I think there's something really wonderful about looking at the year you've had and say, what do we need coming out of this year? Yeah. So if you've had a really chaotic year, maybe you need to have peace. Maybe you had the death of somebody that you dearly love and that hole is aching. Maybe this is the year to say, you know what? We're going on a trip for Christmas.
Yeah.
Figure out what it is that you and your people need. When I say you and your people, I'm looking at you, your husband, your kids, if they're still in the house, but figure that out. There have been years that Roger and I have ditched Christmas. We have blended family, and all the other people are like, we want them on the 24th and the 25th, and we're like, fine, we'll go stay in a bed and breakfast. We'll do something on the 28th. You guys have all the chaos and all of that, and we just brought a little tiny Christmas tree with us, and we snuggled up next to a fire. It's one of the best Christmases I've ever had. Pick the Christmas that you need to finish your year.
And it also, for me, it sparks the conversation that I had with Dr. Gary Chapman on the 5 love languages. And, really that's at the core, right? So when you're setting that holiday mission statement, you're sitting down with your kids or your spouse or your immediate circle of friends and having this conversation, you're thinking about each of the people sitting around the table and how they like to receive and give love. And so if you're surrounded by people who just want to, focus on quality time, then, set yourself up for success in that way. Okay, so here's the scoop, you guys. So the book is set up where it's a project planner, and which is all great. There's little like pockets where you can stuff things in, and there's calendars and all the things that your planner hearts desire, right? And in it, there are 21 projects that you can test out and try. Now, I want to put a clarification, a big old clarification in this moment. You, my friend, you overachiever, you are not meant to do all 21 projects this Christmas season, right? Pick and choose what you need the most help with and ditch the rest this year. So that might be just 3 or 4 of the projects. And the projects, they zoom in anywhere from cooking to your budget, to how you plan your schedule, to gift giving, to cards, all the things, right? Every single literal aspect of your Christmas season, Kathi here has simplified down for you. So what I'd like to do, Kathi, is actually zoom in on 3 of those 21 projects just to give people a taste of what it's all about. Okay, here are the 3 that really stood out to me when it comes to the world of simplifying. Project number 2, which is all about creating your Christmas prep space with what you call a magic Christmas box. Tell me more.
Yes. Okay. So I don't know about the rest of you. I love a good planner. I love all the things. But here's the thing. I can have all the tools and I spend all my time saddling up and not doing the thing.
Yes.
And so what I needed was a box, just a box. I use a file folder. You could use a lidded box, whatever works for you. And this is where you keep all the Christmas stuff. This is where when you get a Christmas card and it has the return address label and you want to make sure you update your Christmas card list, you just shove it in there. Because I know most organizers would tell you, as soon as you receive that, go to your computer and check who does that? Nobody does that. No. So you just keep them all in one spot. This is where you keep all the receipts for anything that you've bought. If you have Bed Bath & Beyond coupons or coupons to your favorite store, whatever that may be, you keep them in there. Lists, when my daughter-in-law sent me, my stepdaughter sent me an idea for Christmas, I actually printed it off and put it in the box so I would not forget. Because I don't know about you, digital clutter, things can get lost way too easily.
Totally.
So Christmas stamps that were left over from last year can be thrown in there. Any idea? Now, when I've ordered gifts for people in the past, especially people out of town, I am now on their mailing list until Jesus comes back. And so I grab those flyers and I throw them in the box. And when it comes time for me to sit down and do the thing, everything is right there. And I also keep a pair of scissors, some gift tags, and some tape in there as well. Now, I have those in other places in my house, but to know where they always are. And I do what my mom is a sewer. She still is. And when we were growing up, if you use the scissors with the Band-Aid on them, you might as well use those scissors to cut out apartment ads because you were moving out.
Yeah, because
And
you were banished.
yeah, so the red-handled scissors in my house,
Yeah.
don't touch those. Those are mine. They go in my Christmas box.
I love the idea. And, by the way, this is what I really appreciated about the book, Kathi, is that these projects are super simple, but
Yeah.
so profound when you actually put them into place. Because the reality is, if you don't make a Christmas box, guess what? All of that stuff gets sprinkled around your entire
Right.
house, and you're desperately looking for the right pair of scissors, or you're desperately looking for just one more postage stamp, right?
So
And you
true.
can't find it. So I love that.
Yeah.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. That is a good way to just start, have a magic box. And side note to my perfectionists listening, do not make this box fancy. Literally use
No.
your most recent Amazon Prime box and call
Yeah.
it done. Done
Yes,
is
absolutely.
better than perfect.
And here's the thing, if you're using the Amazon Prime box and you're like, "Oh, I'd be so much better with one with a handle," then great. Do the one with the handle, but don't buy it until you know you need it.
Exactly, right. And
Yeah,
and that's the true secret to decluttering is not buying more stuff to make your life simplified.
exactly.
It's actually paring down and using what you've got and being resourceful with
Right.
what you've got. Okay, I'd also like to zoom in on project number 5, and
Mhm.
it is all about how to schedule your time for the holidays. Tell us more.
Yeah. So this is part of your discussion with your stakeholders, the people in your house, your husband or, your kids or whomever is living with you that you are responsible for.
Yep.
So get the school program onto your calendar. Get your husband's work party, your work party onto
Hmm.
your calendar. Get that time that you go away with your accountability group and you do a little gift exchange on your calendar. Put all the things that either are required or just bring you a ton of joy.
Yeah.
Get those on your calendar. The other things, you have a decision. No is legitimate in 90% of your invitations. And so just do the things you know you're going to love. Like one of my husband's deepest joys is he loves working on the production team at church. And
Hmm.
so those are some big chunks in our calendar that I need to schedule off to say, no, we're not going to another party. No, we're not doing all the other things. The other thing that's really important to us is we like to drive through Starbucks, grab a couple of holiday drinks and go look at lights.
Yeah.
And we have one kid in our house who makes the map for us of where we're going to go look at all the lights. And then one other kid gets all the Starbucks orders and does the app and puts the drinks in. So, like, those are non negotiables, but the day is negotiable when most of our kids can show up. So, figuring those things out. And my husband needs a lot more space on his calendar than I do. And
Mm.
I have realized it's taken me almost 15 years of marriage to realize when he has space, he's a less grumpy person. He's almost not a grumpy person until he gets overwhelmed. So having a day where it's like, do a puzzle, like that's all you have to do. Watch Christmas movies and do a puzzle. Like that's his dream come true. So to be able to schedule some of that. But the other thing that is so important about the calendar is we tend to have these long to-do lists
Yeah.
and then we have our calendar and we think all this is magically going to filter into this.
Right.
Your calendar has to be your to-do list.
Yeah.
It just has to be. It has to be because this doesn't magically happen on a calendar. It doesn't, there are no pockets of time that you get reserved because you've been a good Christmas girl.
Mhm.
No, you have to fit it all in. So block out a couple of 2 hour, maybe a couple of 4 hour blocks of time to say, this is when we're going to do the things. And if you can't get it done in that amount of time, it probably wasn't that important.
Right. And so what I hear there is principles of time management, time blocking, putting it into
Uh-huh.
a shared calendar that all stakeholders, your inner
Yeah.
squad of kids,
Yeah.
spouse, whatever, are
Yeah.
fully up to speed with. And,
Right.
even in our household, something that's been working lately for us is we've got one of those little whiteboard calendar kind of
Mhm.
template things that we had got at like one of the kids' book fairs at school,
Right.
right? And, it may seem like double work because everything literally lives on my Google Calendar.
Right.
It's no longer in my brain. But I feel it's really important because the kids are up to speed with what are
Yes.
our social obligations this week. What am am I doing on a Wednesday night randomly, so that they also can be prepared and also have a voice in it as well, because I
Yeah.
think that's again where, the kids are going, another night out, another
Right.
night with the sitters, really?
Right.
And again, it helping you as a family unit make better decisions and to ultimately do less,
Well,
but do the most important things.
right. And you also have to realize, probably in my family, I had the highest chaos threshold
Yeah.
and my husband has the lowest.
Right.
And so we, I need him to see I'm making an effort.
Hmm.
And he needs me to see he's making an effort.
Yeah.
And that we're working on it together to meet in the middle to have a peace filled and joy filled Christmas.
Right. You are a team working together, and hopefully each person on the team is getting a little bit of what they want and
Right.
need. That's the bottom line.
Exactly.
Great. Okay.
Exactly.
I love that. All right. So the third project I want to zoom in on is project number 16, which I feel
Yeah.
is the most important one and the one that
Mhm.
we all skip past is
Right.
how to refresh yourself and get some you time, as in
Yeah.
you particular listener. How do we do that?
Right. So I think part of this is understanding what fills you up.
Hmm.
Thinking about, when you were talking about Gary Chapman and the five love languages, understanding that for some of us, we need that social. Like
Hmm.
that's important to us to be with our people. That's what fills us up. For other people, it's that quiet time alone and it's that quality time with just one person.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of in between, like, if I have free time, I want to spend it with my husband and we'll work on a project together and that fills me up. But I want to choose the project. And so it may be, doing a floral arrangement in the middle of our kitchen or something like that. And my husband is so cool. He'll hang with me during that. Like
Really?
he'll go out and help me get the tree branches to do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But to understand what is it that's going to fill me up. And when we talk about self-care, everybody immediately goes to massage or going getting drinks with friends or something like that. But maybe you just need to read a book.
Mm,
Maybe that is what is going to fill you up. And it's doing those little things. And I don't think you save it all up for just one day. But
right.
there've got to be pockets of peace throughout your December. For some people, it's getting a little extra time to work on a project they love, whatever it is. Make sure that is scheduled in because you don't want to get to the end of December and the holiday season and say, you know what, I really need a holiday.
Right.
That's what right?
I need some
We
time
need
off.
to, exactly. We want to get to the end of the holiday season and like, you know what? I encountered my people. I
Mm,
encountered God, if spirituality is a part of what you're doing,
yeah.
and I am ready to go back and hit it now.
Well, and I think that ties into the last project we talked about is not only scheduling in the shared activities and things that are for you and the family to do together, but also being intentional about scheduling in that pockets of time and
Mhm.
silence and the you time for just you. And so the things that are working for me is we have a wooded area very close to our house. So it's
Mhm.
literally just popping on the headphones, listening to my favorite music, or dare say, just walking in silence. And it
Mhm.
doesn't have to be some big grandiose thing with
No.
photographers and photo shoots and the perfect outfit and all that. It literally is me in my scrubs and like going out to the woods for 10
Right.
minutes, right? So don't overcomplicate it. Yes, walking in the woods is important. Time for prayer or meditation, sitting by that
Mhm.
beautiful Christmas tree,
Yeah.
it could literally be as much as just savoring a hot drink, a cup of
Right.
coffee and having that moment to pause. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I would encourage you if you're hearing this, like think about right now the things that give you the warm and fuzzies when you think about Christmases past.
Mhm.
Whether those were special moments with other people or just literally moments where you are all by yourself and nobody's asking you to do
Right.
anything. And
Right.
yeah, like Kathy say, like start to figure out where you can plunk those in. And then I think the one step further is communicate it to your inner squad.
100%.
Tell them
Yeah.
like, hey, in order for mommy to be sane this year, I'm gonna need some mommy me time. And so how
Mhm.
can you guys help me do this? Because when I'm happy,
Right.
trust me, we're all happy.
Yeah, and I think for some reason we have been so reluctant to have our families help.
Yeah.
And like we get some kind of special gold star if we do Christmas all on our own.
No.
No, 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 no. We need to have the best gift you can give your family is a sane mom.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. And so I think
Yeah.
that comes back to what you say in your book of asking for help, saying it with
Mhm,
your outside voice to your people and asking
mhm.
for that extra help. So
I
then
love it.
I'm
Your outdoor voice. I love that.
yes, you have to. So you can tell I'm a mom, right?
Yes.
So the reality is, you've written this book, you've simplified so many aspects of Christmas, and this is literally just three of 21 projects.
Mhm.
I'm curious, Kathi, how are you doing Christmas differently this year now that you've written the book on simplifying it?
Yeah.
What's changed for
So
you?
it's it, I am not as tied to things having to be a certain way.
Yeah.
We have a very unusual situation in our business where we live part of the time in San Jose, California, and part of the time in a tiny, tiny little town called Oma Ranch, California,
Mm,
where we have a mountain house that we do writers' retreats at. And
amazing.
so we have like 6 people come and they spend a week and they hunker down and they focus on their projects. And we have great teachers and fun stuff. And so we are at the mountains right now and we were trying to figure out how do we get all of in my brain, of course all of our kids would come to the mountains and we'd have a mountain Christmas and it would be
Oh,
amazing and be right.
yeah.
And yes, and nuns would show up and sing. Well, 3 of our kids work in retail situations.
Oh, yeah.
One works for Apple, one works for a supermarket. They can't get 2 days off in a row to save their lives. So you know what I think we're going to do this year? We're going to get a hotel room in San Jose,
Mm.
and with it's an embassy suite. It sounds fancy, it certainly is not. And we're going to put up a little Christmas tree and have everybody just come there.
Yeah.
And so, like, what's the most important thing? The most important thing isn't the location, it isn't the date that we're celebrating, it's who we're celebrating with.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that we get to be with them. I don't even know if we're all going to be able to be together at the same time,
Yeah.
but we will get to see each kid at some point or another. And you know what? So it just takes a ton of the pressure off to say, we're doing something different and it may not work for that person's family, but it works for our family.
And that's okay. I think it comes
Yeah.
back to the message of enough. You know, when
Yeah.
you realize what you, your inner squad, your circle of family really want and need and desire, and let that be enough. And that's how you cultivate that discernment muscle in order to say no, or,
Mhm.
take it a step further and say no, thank you with
Right.
gratitude. Thank you so
Yes.
much for inviting me. Thank you so much for thinking of me. We're not going to be able to make it this year, but thank
Yeah.
you. And, again, if anyone's listening and you are the repeat perfectionist and or sticker chart completer, like we all are, we love a good sticker chart. I'm just saying,
Oh,
Kathi,
yeah. Oh,
it's
friend, it's gotten me to do more in my life than just about anything
the
else. Yes.
truth is there is no sticker chart for Christmas, and it's
Yep.
okay if you don't complete all the things on your list, and it's okay to say no with gratitude as well.
Yes. I love that.
So I highly recommend, it doesn't matter when you are listening to this episode, pick yourself up a copy of this book. It will give you clarity, it will help you simplify, and it will help you declutter Christmas. So it's called the Christmas Project Planner. You can buy it wherever books are sold. You can also find Kathi online at her website, Kathi Lipp. That's Kathi with an I and Lip with 2 P's.com. And, all the links that we mentioned, all the resources we talked about on today's episode, you of course can find in our show notes, the simplifierspodcast.com. And yeah, just give it a go. Again, take a couple of things, help you break down your to-do list, put priorities on your calendar, and literally go into this Christmas with a plan and a different focus. I'm telling you, joy can be found here and less of the insanity and craziness. So, A couple of questions I'd like to ask you, Kathi, that I like to ask everybody that comes on to the
Yeah.
podcast, and curious to hear your insight on this. And by the
Yeah.
way, thank you so much for being on today's
Oh my goodness.
podcast.
Are you kidding? This has been so much fun. You're a great interviewer, by the way,
Oh,
but I think you already knew that.
oh, thanks. So, my first question for you is this: what is one book or blog that you're reading these days that is either inspiring you or poking holes and challenging your belief system right now?
Well, I'm sure many of your listeners have read it. It's called Good to Great. It's by Jim Collins. But the thing that is really, I'll just be honest, kicking our butts right now is his three circles idea.
Mm,
And so in business, what what could you potentially be the best at? What is your passion and what could you make money at?
yeah.
And here's the thing, we've tried a lot of things I've been passionate about. We've tried a lot of things that we've been able to make some money about, but I've never asked myself the question, what could I be the best at? And we've really refined it and refined it and refined it. And on the Communicator Academy side of our business, we have two sides, Clutter-Free Academy and Communicator Academy, where we're talking with authors and speakers. We've decided we can be the best at intimate retreats to help writers and speakers not perfect their craft, but advance their craft.
Yeah.
And so, it's like, okay, it's something that people don't even know they're looking for, but when they hear about it, it's like, oh, I want that. And I'm so passionate about it. And we've been doing it for a year and we're making money at it. And those three questions, not only have they said, okay, this is what we're doing, but also it's helped me stop doing some things. We were putting on a large conference called the Leverage Conference, which is for speakers and authors.
Yep.
And what we realized is there are a lot of good people putting on big conferences.
Mm.
And we don't need to be one of those people. And by the way, I'm a little risk adverse. So doing a big conference is a big risk for me.
And a
I'm
whole
better.
lot of money going out the door.
It's so true. And
Yeah.
so I'm better at medium risk, but
Yeah.
medium reward. And
Yeah.
so we have found our sweet spot. And can I just tell you, it has changed everything in our lives.
Well, it is a great book. It's one that I haven't read in a long while, so it's one to certainly think about over the holidays to pick up again. And I'll put the link in the show notes for people if you guys want to check it out. And side note, the second you mentioned the mountainside retreat home, I was like, ding, 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 I'm in. Can you sign me
Yeah.
up? Can somehow get me to fly from England all the way over there? Because that sounds absolutely perfect for me personally.
It's what people didn't even know they needed until they hear about it and they're like, I need 5 days
Yes,
to
please.
go and just. So in the mornings they spend all morning writing, and in the afternoons we have teaching with amazing authors, and then in the evenings you get to do something fun because you've worked really hard.
Yep.
And so we have wine tours, we have mountain barbecues, we have also. So it's the perfect writers retreat. I love being able to be a part of it each time.
We should chat more off this video because
Absolutely.
I am actually putting it out there into the world. Some people know this already, that I will be writing my first book in 2020. So
Ah,
let's chat.
we should talk.
Definitely. Okay, so my next question for you is this. Someone somewhere that you know in your network that you just feel is up to brilliant things. I'd love to shine a spotlight on him or her. And yeah, who knows? Maybe one day we'll interview them on the podcast. Who would you
Uh,
choose?
this is not even a discussion. Her name is Tanya Kubo. And who she is, okay, so she started off as one of my interns,
Mm.
and she is now running the world. And you don't even know that she's running your little world. She has an online community on Facebook. It's called The Secret to Thriving Online Communities. Tanya
Mm.
Kubo's The Secret to Thriving Online Communities.
Hmm.
And what she does is it's not so much about platform. It's not so much about marketing as it is growing engaged followers. And
Mm.
so engaged followers, you hear about engagement, you hear about followers, you got to put them together. And she's just a genius at this. She's the one who started our clutter-free Facebook group,
Yep.
and we're going to hit 10,000 by the end of this year. And it's because of her and her smarts and understanding how to engage people. And she's helping us run our business, and she's just a genius, and she does this for a lot of people. And I feel like her mom. I'm so stinking proud of her
Oh,
because she's young, but she's so smart and she gets it.
I
And so
Yeah.
love it.
Love it. Well, we will definitely link up with Tanya so people want to learn more about her. Again, go
Mhm.
back to the show notes and you'll find it there. So, I want to remind you guys if you are curious about the Christmas Project Planner, there is a private Facebook group for that
Mhm.
specific people who are reading the book. And I think this comes back to what we said at the top of the episode is surrounding yourself with people that are going to say, hey, yeah, I give you permission to say no to the 80 billion things. So, again, find those links in our show notes on how you can also join that private Facebook group that Kathi runs and her team does. Also, where do you like to hang out online? Like, is there one particular social media account where people can connect with you?
Yeah, I do a lot on well, I in our group, the Facebook, the Clutter-Free Academy group.
Yep,
I'm in there a
great.
lot, but also just Facebook. I'm over on Instagram. I love it, but we are really trying to instruct people with a lot of Facebook videos on how to declutter, and so we spend a
Perfect.
lot of time over there.
Okay, great. So her link for Facebook, if you're looking for it, is facebook.com/author Kathi Lipp. But we'll put those links in the show notes. Okay, again, I so appreciate all of your insight. I think that this is a necessary message for so many of us to hear, to give yourself that grace and give yourself that permission out there in the world. So thank you for that. In my opinion, gratitude and simplicity go hand in hand.
Amen.
What are you grateful for today?
Oh, wow. I mean, my husband says that he said after about 5 years of marriage, he said, "Did you know that you say you're grateful for where you live every single day?" I'm like,
Mm,
"No, I don't." He goes, "Yeah, every day." And I think it's probably easy to be grateful to live in California, but it's a special place. But I will say I I am just grateful for getting to be where I'm at and do the work I'm doing.
yeah,
Like I don't know why I get to do the work I want to do and sometimes other people do not.
yeah,
But the work I do it lets me help people get free from clutter,
yeah,
and it lets me help raise up future leaders through our intern program and things like that. And where we live, it's a powerful combination. And I just wake up super grateful every day for that. And so I love the question because the more stuff I've gotten out of my life, the more grateful I am for those intangibles, where we live, the work
yeah.
I do, the people I get to surround myself with. So I'm very, very grateful that you asked the question because it reminds me to sit in that gratitude when other things are hard.
It's true. Less is
Mhm.
more, certainly
Yeah.
in the physical and emotional way, but it
Hmm.
also less means that you have so much more gratitude for the things that you do still
Yeah.
let into your life and hold on to tight.
Yes. Yes.
So, my final question for you today is this, Kathi. Someone somewhere out in the world is listening to this episode right now, and she is in the thick of it. She
Right.
is probably surrounded with many piles of many things that are
Hmm.
just obligations, mess, cards that were supposed to be sent 2 weeks ago, packages that
Right.
still need to be addressed, and oh my God, what am I going to get Grandma Edna this year for a
Right.
gift?
My
Shh.
grandmother's name is Edna.
I knew it. So here's the thing. What's one thing you could whisper into her ear right now just to encourage her in this moment?
Micro steps. I know you were hoping for something spiritual or emotional or something like that. But you know what? If you're overwhelmed by that email, you don't have to deal with the whole email. Just open it up. Be
Yeah.
very kind to yourself. If you're feeling overwhelmed by by that task or that to-do list, your first baby step is think, is there somebody who could help me right now?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to imagine you've helped a lot of people over the years, and people sometimes are looking for ways to help, but you're a capable, amazing, get it done kind of woman, and nobody thinks you need any help. And when you can say help, one, it frees somebody else up to say yes. And two, it also makes them realize we're just all a bunch of humans doing our best. And
Yeah.
you have given them freedom in regards to that same thing. It asking for help is magical.
I love that. And it reminds me, it takes a village. It takes a
Hmm.
village, girl. And all you have to do is ask for help.
Right.
Kathi, thank you so much for your time today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on. This was amazing.